Hey guys, it is Tristan with Nerdouts Newsstand, and today we are going to talk about a new comic book coming out this week from DC Comics. This is Dark Knights of Steel. And first off, wow. Second off, this is going to be very hard to beat as my favorite book of the week. This was really good. It's done by Tom Taylor, and the art and colors are done by Yasmine Purdi. And from the art to the storyline to the changes that are made within this universe, it is fantastic. Now, one thing I want to say about this is there is a little bit at the end here. Now, this will have spoilers. We're going to go through it. That people may not like. And at first I was kind of like, meh, I don't know how much I like it. But then I was like, yeah, this is Elseworld. This is different. One thing Tom Taylor does so well is his Elseworld stories, from Injustice to DCeased. He has done and written some amazing alternate universes. And I think this is going to be the next one we actually see that is that damn good. Like, let's get right into it. Make sure you guys are subscribed and hit like. Leave me a comment down below. Let me know if you're picking this up this week. There is some awesome covers, first off, and I will link it down below. Some must-have covers for Harley Quinn fans over at comicselitecomics.com. They are so pretty. I am absolutely going to be getting one. I could not believe. It almost looks like Billie Eilish meets Harley Quinn. It's very cool. Very cool. I'm getting it. So, this is Dark Knights of Steel. And right at the beginning, we all know the story, right? A boy from Krypton on a planet that is exploding is sent to Earth. Or kind of, right? Kind of. What we actually have here is not only a boy, but a boy and his parents. So we have both Clark, Lara, and Jor-El coming to Earth. Now, from the looks of it, I obviously it looks like this is medieval times that they're coming, so it is earlier than the original story. And she gives birth right away as they land. Like, that's teeny tiny. That is one thing I should say. They could have made it a little bit bigger, but even so, initially, they get, all of these people are basically like, who are you and where did you come from? You have this huge ship. Huge is subjective. But what are you doing here? And he gets mad, of course, and that's it. That's it for them. They try to, shoot at her. But then we have baby Kal-El. And he's so cute. I can't take it. And we switch over. There is 2 kingdoms within this, one of which Black Lightning is the king, and one of which Jor-El is the king. Now, at first, I thought this was Joker. One thing I will say is they look like they put a little bit of green in his hair, and I was confused because they initially started talking about a green man. So, that is the only thing I really saw with this that I had issue with. You can see his hair almost looks like it's tinted green, but this is actually Constantine, right? So we are within the kingdom of Black Lightning. This is Jefferson's kingdom. And he is going, Constantine is giving this almost, future tell of, he's selling the future to them and they're writing it down. And then we switch over to the castle of El, 19 years later, and we see young Kal-El and Bruce. And Clark is Clark in this. He wants to go with them. He wants to be up there, and Bruce is written perfectly. He's like, nope, no, you are not. So we do see the Robins also in this, and I love that they included Alfred. I miss Alfred in the main line. So it is nice to say. And I love that Alfred is like, yeah, this is the look you get when he loses an argument, but he has nothing else to say. So we see everyone, they're going to find this banshee. There's this magical banshee, and we don't know who she is or what she's doing, and maybe she wants to hurt Clark. And that is basically Bruce's life goal, is to save Clark. Well, the Bat Prince himself actually gets to talk to her. And I do also want to say that I love that they included all of the Robins, right? And we see Jason go in, and because somebody comes out unconscious, and he's like, yeah, you're not doing that anymore. It's not going to be you that tries to talk to people. It's going to be Cassie, right? So come out, and we see who this person actually is. This Banshee is not a Banshee. This is Dinah Lance. And she isn't hurting anyone. She just wants to be left alone. She's hiding. Everybody thinks her meta ability is actually magic, and that she wants to go against Clark. So she uses her canary cry, and in doing so, Bruce is still alive. And I was like, are we really going with this whole he's still alive because he's that tough? It didn't make sense to me quite at first, but don't worry. By the end, it will make sense. Clark comes in and, actually, they knock her out, right? But he's the one sticking up for her. Look, she's just scared. She's just this person. She's just, trying to live her life. And I love that he's asking Bruce, was all this really necessary? And Bruce being Bruce and that wants to keep up with justice in this time, thinks that she's magical and thinks that she's doing something wrong. So we get our first look at Harley Quinn, who is, I'm not sure her role yet, other than Jester, right? I do think she's going to have a bigger role. I think they released an interview with Tom Taylor yesterday on DC channel, and he said she was going to have a bigger role, but I love that she's even included. And she's written really well. She's silly. She is Harley. She talks about how Batman has little ears. I love it. So we get to go in front of Jor-El and the Queen, and basically Bruce takes the blame and says, it was my error of judgment. And Clark, in Clark fashion, says, don't lie for me, right? Don't lie for me. It was me. I did it. And they have an argument, right? And the argument really isn't important besides to establish the fact that Bruce's parents were originally king and queen. And we see Bruce basically upset about that. He's a bastard in this time where being an orphan isn't okay. Being this kid without parents isn't okay. And of course, they took him in, but it still weighs on him a lot, as it usually does. So we get a conversation between Jor-El and Bruce. And a lot of it's an apology, but he wants to tell him something, and something that is actually really important. He believes he's cursed. Bruce thinks that because he didn't fall apart when Canary cried, he's cursed. Something's wrong with him. And of course, at the same time, we're seeing Ollie. And I'm not sure which Green Lantern yet, because we actually don't see a face. But we're seeing Ollie work with one of the lanterns to make a magical bow, or make a magical arrow, actually, and send it off. Well, in the midst of all of this, Jor-El tells Bruce, there's nothing wrong with you. The reason why you didn't actually have any sort of damage besides a little bit of bleeding was because you're my son. Me and your mother had an affair. And then he dies. Right? Jor-El is taken right off. And that's it. We know everything has changed from the stories we've had before. Not only is it not just Clark and that little spaceship, his parents came. His father, Jor-El, is also father of Bruce. Now, with him being dead, I don't know that Laura knows. So we'll have to wait and see how that plays out. But as of right now, we have a very stoic Bruce as usual, but with a little bit of Kryptonian in him. And I kind of love it. I'm not going to lie. I want to see how it plays out. This issue was fantastic. I really enjoyed it. And I think the way it's set up, it is a 12 issue maxi series, But I do think this could be another one like DCeased, where it was originally 6, and then it had a tie-in, and then it had a one-shot, and then it had, the digital first series, and then it had 7 more issues. This is one that could be played upon and expanded. You could go from Bruce and Clark to Joker and Harley. What's her role? You could go over to the metas and how they're dealing with people thinking they are pure evil, just like in the Salem witch trials, because they possess a meta ability and are able to really dig into characters that normally we would see as good characters, such as Dino or even Aquaman, being looked upon as evil. I love it. Absolutely great read. Definitely a recommend. I'm not shilling. I'm just telling you this was really good. There was a couple issues with the art, but generally anything by Yasmine Purdi, I love. So let me know, of course, what you guys think about this. I will see you in the next one. Bye-bye.